Hey guys, Black Sun back for another video. Video number 2. I wanted to do another comment video. Somebody else left me a really wonderful comment. And the username is Yellow Ducky Music. Shout out to Yellow Ducky Music. And he asked me, I'm going to paraphrase his comment, basically how to not lose your soul and your motivation when you're applying for art jobs or jobs of any kind. Because let's face it, guys, the application process for jobs is very soul crushing. A lot of times it feels like you're screaming out into the void or yelling into the wind or crying in the rain. You know, it just it seems very pointless. You know, I just applied for a few part-time jobs because I've noticed a lot of people are not hiring for full-time, further adding to the stress and the frustration of the process, because you know most people are looking for full-time jobs so they can get insurance and get indeed a good paycheck, but a lot of places are cutting that, and we're seeing some extreme capitalism going on right now, because it makes sense that they want to mitigate their costs as much as possible, right? I'm not saying either side is bad. Obviously, in capitalism, it's the employee's job to try and exploit the employer for as much benefit as you can, because your time is valuable. You're trying to get as much money for your time as you can, and it's the employer's job to mitigate costs as much as possible. And I guess you could say exploit the employees for as much as possible. But I'm not saying that in like a pessimistic kind of way. I'm just saying that's the agreement, right? That's the agreement between employer and employee. Otherwise, it would be slavery or indentured servitude or whatever. But it was a good question. You know, I really felt like I wanted to talk about this because, you know, I've talked about this here and there in other videos, you know, and stuff like that. And I think the way, I can only speak from my experience, but I can tell you that the only way that I stay motivated is because, you know, we are all players in our own board game of life, right? Some of us have some child pegs in the car, and some of us don't. Some of us have more money than others. Some of us live in different places than others. But you have to remember, this is just a temporary game of life, right? We leave one day. So, yeah, there's a lot of onus and pressure on us to figure out our adult lives wholeheartedly and rather, my voice is cracked, rather swiftly. But some things take time, you know, and the way I stay motivated is I just really, really try hard to build my own kingdom. You know what I mean? I really try hard to have my own thing going on the side. You have to have your own thing going, because if you don't and you exist solely for this world and this society and this structure of how things work with jobs and employment and unemployment and all this crap, you're gonna be depressed. Because you got to look at it this way: society and the way it runs, it's kind of like a compromising middle ground, because obviously we can't make everybody happy, right? It's like the presidency. He can't make everybody happy. Congress can't make everybody happy. Society is not going to make everybody happy. You know, some people are upset that the link card food stamp program exists. Others are happy about that. One person's problem is probably another person's solution. You know, it's that duality of things. You can't have solutions without problems. Otherwise, we wouldn't know which one is which, right? We wouldn't know what to call it. How would we know if it's a problem if we didn't have any prior experience? So what am I trying to get at here? So what I'm trying to get at is, the more we try and engage with the understanding of society and how it works and the whys and the hows and why didn't I get this job and whatever, I encourage people to just take it like water. Be like water, right? Water always finds a way. It always wins. It always overcomes everything given enough time. You know, we're talking erosion of rock and sediment. We're talking corrosion of the strongest metals. Water always finds a way. It always wins. It always goes around things in a stream. When you see rocks in a stream, water's going around those rocks until eventually that rock is going to disappear underneath the water, or just be broken down by the steadfastness and determination of that said water. You are like that water. So always remember, there's a way to get around stuff, over stuff, right? And just keep building your own kingdom. So shout out to Yellow Ducky Music. It sounds like you've got, some music going on. And, human beings, we need hope. We need to have our ego. We can't exist without the id, the super ego, and the ego. If we don't have something that's ours, right? That's solely ours, like that we've worked on and gave birth to and have honed and crafted to a fine level of detail and skill that solely belongs to us, I believe a little part of us dies. I really do. I really do. You see this a lot in Japan with the sarariman, right? The salary man who works a job he probably hates. He works a lot, doesn't complain. He just takes care of his family, but probably doesn't have any ambition aside from that. And that's a real shame. You really don't want to be like that. And they don't want to be like that. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how a small aspect of Japanese society works, to my understanding. So you have to have something on your own. For me, my thing that I have on my own is my YouTube channel, first and foremost. Of course, my guitar playing, my art making, my novels. I've written 2 novels, Japanese. I study Japanese on the daily. I love the language. It's my goal to go there one day when I save up enough money, and such. But, you can't exist solely for this world. You know what I mean? In that way. We worry about everything as people. We worry about our health. We worry about family, our daughter's virginity, whatever. If you have a daughter, I don't have any kids, but just saying, I'm sure fathers worry about that because women have a lot to lose when it comes to relationships because they can get pregnant, right? Guys do too, but women have to carry the baby and whatnot. It's a little bit different. But so I always try to remind myself that I'm still rowing my boat to that island of prosperity that I know is there, that I know exists, that I know I have the skills to reach. And sometimes as you get older, more opportunities start to pop up for you. Because sometimes it's weird when you're a kid, when you're a teenager, like hardly anybody takes you seriously, because they're like, oh, what does he know? He's a kid. What does he know? He's a teenager, right? You have like the generations, 2 generations ahead of you. By the time you reach the workforce while you're a teenager, you've got Gen X, who's just kind of a little bit further ahead than us millennials, and then the baby boomers after them. And then you have some of the greatest generations still there. Right. But, as you get older, you have more life experiences, and therefore people cannot refute you as so easily. So what does that mean? Well, the more experiences you have, the more you can share with the world and shape the world in your own way, whether it be big or small. Kind of like what I like to think I'm doing with this YouTube channel. I'm kind of shaping the world by spreading positivity and hopefully good advice. I don't have all the answers, right? I'm just a guy in an SUV, but I hope that I'm helping somebody out there because, these videos help me too, guys, really work through a lot of stuff. Whenever I'm feeling pain, I try to turn it outward and try to help others, and in a way, it kind of goes hand in hand with my put yourself behind to get ahead video. You put yourself behind and be as real and honest as possible, and you might get ahead, meaning success might ensue because people like honest people. And so long as you're honest, success is just right down the road, right? Because as long as you're being real and honest and you have nothing to hide, I don't see why success wouldn't find you. But anyways, to get back to the original question, how do you maintain motivation in an ever-changing world? And they're always changing laws and they're always changing rules, and sometimes they take away programs, sometimes they don't, and it's like, oh my god, it's so hard to keep in contact with all that stuff. But the more you get caught up in the motivations of man, and specifically those people in charge who make laws and do stuff like that, it's never going to make any sense to you. You're going to rob yourself of inner peace. You're just going to have a really, really bad time. So what we have to do is try to find inner security, right? And this is why I encourage you to try and find something that you really, really like to do, right? Whether it's like building woodworking or painting or drawing, guitar, writing, a foreign language. Because you never know, guys. I always say that you're always one chapter away from a bestseller, right? You're always one record button away from a video that gets 1 million views, right? You're only one song away from the Billboard Top 100 if that's your goal, or whatever it is, you know? And the moment you stop and really give up, you know, that's the moment that your soul will begin to decay, in my opinion. So how do I stay motivated? I stay motivated when I'm looking for jobs by realizing that all these jobs I've ever had, they're all temporary, including the next one that I'll have is temporary as well. Because I know that I'm building my own kingdom one brick at a time. I'm my own mason. I'm laying those bricks one at a time. I'm building the moat. You know, I'm filling the moat myself one bucket at a time, right? I'm fighting the good fight, and that's exactly why that's the motto of this channel. But so long as you have something that is your shining north star that you're working towards, it makes it a lot easier to endure the bullshit and the bureaucratics of man and society and government and all this other crazy crap, you know, because you are your own constancy. You are your own consistency. And as long as you maintain that, you will endure. You will endure. So that's how I do it. I stay focused on what I have going on in my life, my health. I bike every day, shoot hoops every day. I try not to miss a day. I think I missed a day a couple of days ago because my vehicle was overheating. I ran out of antifreeze. My bad. Had to get some. And then I came to the park later anyway, so I didn't really miss a day. But, you know, so focus on your own thing. You know, remember, let me leave you with another little nugget here, if I may, if we can call it that. I would like to dispel any sort of worry in a couple of sentences, if you'll allow me that. Number one, people worry about a lot of stuff, as we've covered already. And people worry about a lot of stuff that they can't control, right? I would like to say, if you can't control what you're worrying about, then why worry about it? If you can't control it, there's nothing you can do. Why worry? Worrying about it's not going to do any good. You know, it's just going to increase your cortisol levels in your brain, and you're going to be doing more harm than good. Now, people worry about the things that they can control, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. We all do this, by the way. I'm not better than anybody else. I do this too. I'm guilty of this. But I digress by saying, if you can control it and have something to say about it, then why worry about it? Again, and there goes everything that you can possibly ever worry about. If you can't control it, don't worry about it, because it's out of your hands anyway. You know, people worry about their health all the time. You can only do the most you can. It's all predetermined by genetics, your hereditary history, right? So you can only do your best, right? You know, that's all you can do, so don't worry about it. And you can control your health to some degree by being active, eating a proper diet, doing the best you can, get plenty of sleep, you know, take care of your body, you know, so you can control that. Some things you can't control. Going back to the moral of this video, the point of this video is that when you apply for jobs, you cannot control whether or not somebody says, I want to hire him or her. I don't want to hire him or her. You know what I mean? All you can control is filling out the application, doing your best cover letter if you need one, you know, providing your best references, making sure everything's spelled correctly, making sure your resume is one page, that's concise, right? And as long as you've done all of that, you've done everything that you can do, right? So why worry about it? And even if you get rejected, like I got rejected from Farm and Fleet, what was it, 2 days ago? I don't know why. They didn't tell me why. But I know it's not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. I filled out their application. A lot of times these job applications are filtered through AI and stuff like that. And sometimes you get rejected by a computer. It's not even a person that goes through these apps. So you really don't know the whole story behind the rejection in the first place. So, but human beings, we're super sensitive to rejection. And whenever we are faced with rejection, we do a lot of internal blaming at times. We start to ask ourselves, what did I do wrong? What can I have done better? And sometimes it has nothing to do with any of that stuff. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a computer doing it, or maybe they filled the application or the position with somebody else and they forgot to take the job down off the website. It could be anything. So, but remember, guys, as long as you're building your own kingdom and focusing on something that you're good at and taking it one day at a time and trying to do something with it, and I advocate everybody to make a YouTube channel. There's plenty of success for everybody on this platform. I'm not one of those people that's like, you can't start a channel because then I won't succeed. That doesn't make any sense. I would encourage everybody to start a channel, because YouTube's a great gateway to escape the rat race if done properly. But don't, chase views and harass people. Don't do anything like that. It has to come from a wholesome, wholehearted place of genuine wanting to help somebody. I'm here at the park all the time, and I see all these families and kids everywhere, and everybody's just trying to live. Everybody's just trying to be happy. Everybody cuts their lawn. Everybody walks their dogs. Everybody drives their car, tries to go to work, tries to do the best they can for their kids. Everybody, for generations, parents have been taking their kids to Little League softball, Little League baseball, soccer, you name it. And the cycle will always continue. And I think the more that you also can stay motivated, I touched upon this in another video, but put others first. When you put others first, you put yourself ahead as well, because what you're doing is you're not so focused on your own problems, and you're focused on what other people want and need and how they're doing, and you feel better about yourself because you're connecting with your fellow people, right? That's something you have control over. You can walk outside and probably talk to somebody, your neighbor, a friend, call them on the phone, whatnot. But, the sort of like machinations of man is kind of like a gas station, this concept that I used for the past as well. You kind of go to the gas station and refuel, but you wouldn't want to live there. You wouldn't want to stay there longer because there's no need to. Once you get your gas, once you get the lesson, you leave, right? So anyway, guys, I hope this was really helpful. It is hard out there. It is. Hell, if I probably, sometimes I wish I would have just stayed at the hotel I was at, even though it was terrible. At least I was getting $14 an hour. But then again, I know how crappy it was and how stupid it was and how little things made sense and how much I was working hard to get a result that I thought was going to happen, and it never came. And so I know I made the right decision by leaving. But sometimes society, the way the workforce is, it can put you in a vice, right? And it's hard to make a decision for yourself, even if it's the right one, because of that financial, monetary pressure that you're putting on yourself by leaving. And I resent that a lot, but unfortunately, that's the game we're playing. So stay strong, guys. Build your own kingdom. Focus on something that is internal to yourself, that you can make your own, and plant that seed in the ground and water it every day. And who knows, man, you might have yourself a beautiful 100-foot mighty oak tree. And guess what? It's all yours. So until next time, guys, Black Sun out. Peace.